Okay, they lead Pow and Thunderous. I think I want to just Terra Dark immediately and Nasty Plot. That'll shut down any Prankster disruption from the Thunderous. Even Leer won't work on Calyrex at that point. And let's look to break a possible Focus Sash on the Chien-Pao. And this time, I am anticipating a possible Ghost Terra and clicking Heavy Slam. Like I said, maybe I should have done in that earlier game. They forfeit immediately. Okay. Well, I guess they didn't like their position. This is the team that won the Bologna Special Event this past weekend. Shadow Rider Calyrex and Zamazenta finally getting that big win that I think a lot of people anticipated they would have sooner or later. This was, of course, one of the restricted pairs that I think most people had their eyes on at least a little bit going into Regulation I, but it hadn't seen the level of success so far that people anticipated, but had a very strong showing in Italy, because not only is this the team that won, but it also looks very similar to the runner-up team, which also used... it used 5 of the same 6 Pokemon, but 2 of them are Shadow Rider Calyrex and Zamazenta. Now, I've seen some people calling this a mirror. It's not exactly a mirror. For one thing, one Pokemon is different, although they are both Assault Vest users with Fake Out and U-Turn, clearly able to put out that pressure and pivot around, and of course they're 2 of the classic Pokemon for that job. Incineroar on the champion team and Rillaboom on the runner-up team. But there are some other differences as well. Actually, every Pokemon on this team has some kind of difference in its set. We'll get to that when I get to the runner-up team, but for now I'm just going to play some games with the winning team, and I'll try the runner-up team in a little bit because it's so similar, and we'll see how we feel about the differences. So, it's a Life Orb, Nasty Plot, Terra Dark, Calyrex, able to set up quickly and get that big damage, supported by not only Incineroar, but also Redirection and Sleep support from Amoonguss, and also Pollen Puff can heal it, I guess. Then you have the Zamazenta with the Wide Guard protecting its teammates from spread moves, but also, of course, able to deal a lot of damage itself, and able to deal that fighting type damage that covers the dark and normal types that give Shadow Rider Calyrex so much trouble, especially since this one, as is fairly typical right now, is not running any kind of coverage for those itself. It only has its stab attacks in Astral Barrage and Psychic. Chien-Pao gives, of course, Zamazenta a passive damage boost with the Sword of Ruin. Usually when I've tried teams like this with Chien-Pao and Zamazenta, they're loaded up with more physical attackers. This one really just has those 2, and then of course the Assault Vest Incineroar is able to throw off some attacks as well. It can benefit from the Sword of Ruin for sure. But they're still a formidable duo, especially when you account for the fact that there's a whole Shadow Rider Calyrex mode built into the team on top of that, and that's why the power level is so ridiculous in Reg I, right? Incineroar and Amoonguss are a classic, very strong support duo, and then you have the Raging Bolt in the 6th slot, very powerful attacker in its own right, and I'm sure it brings some coverage that this team has need of. I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly what it is. I could see it being strong. Well, it's tricky into Miraidon. I don't know. Maybe into some Kyogre teams it's helpful. We might find out as we play. But it's just a good Pokemon, so I don't really think that you can go wrong with it. But I don't think I can exactly speak to why it was the best option. We'll see. But that's the team. Some fairly typical pieces for Shadow Rider Zamazenta team. But with the duo of Incineroar and Amoonguss that seem to work so well as support partners on so many different kinds of teams, where I might, on earlier versions of this, have expected to see something like Incineroar or Rillaboom, maybe an Urshifu. I know some people have run Tornadus on these teams. That's one thing about these teams, they don't have very much speed control, but they benefit from Shadow Rider being, I think, the fastest restricted Pokemon, and Zamazenta being tanky. Right, this is more of a bouncy kind of team, although it can also go nuts offensively with either the Shadow Rider or with Chien-Pao boosting its own and Zamazenta's physical damage. Anyway, it looks like we're immediately jumping into a rematch of the Bologna final. I was so busy yapping I didn't notice at first. And I still left one thing out. It's fine. I don't know what to do. I haven't watched the full final. I've only partially watched it as I'm recording this. I'm just going to lead with my restricteds, and I'll bring in Incineroar because it's good into Rillaboom, Chien-Pao, Amoonguss, Zamazenta situationally. What's the Terra type? Fairy? Okay. And I can bring Bolt. I don't hate it. I'll bring Chien-Pao. Okay. So they are leading Rillaboom, Zamazenta. Okay. Can I just go for a Nasty Plot immediately? It'd be cool if it works. Right? Because Rillaboom can't fake out Calyrex. It can fake out Zamazenta, but if it does, then it's not doing anything to stop the Nasty Plot. And their Zamazenta is not... probably not threatening a one-shot into... I'm just going to go for it. It'll be really cool if it works. Just go for a Body Press into their Zamazenta. Rillaboom did not click fake out. Did they double into Calyrex? Yes, but they didn't get the KO. Of course, it is Life Orb Calyrex, so even with the Grassy Terrain recovery, it doesn't have so much longer to live, especially since the Chien-Pao is just going to get rid of the... yeah, it's going to force me to protect here. I'll Body Press it. Maybe I should have Heavy Slammed it to cover for Terra, but they didn't Terra. But it has... No, this one is the Focus Sash. That one has the Life Orb. That's one of those differences I talked about. I forgot. It's Life Orb Chien-Pao on the runner-up team. We'll get a closer look at that later, but there we go. Pretty convincingly won the Bologna final right there. I guess we could call this video over, but no, I'm kidding. We're not going to. You can see what a powerhouse duo Shadow Rider Calyrex and Zamazenta are together there. Here we've got a Reg G team. They only have one restricted Pokemon. It's Ice Rider Calyrex with Hearthflame Mask Ogerpon and Urshifu. I'm going to guess Rapid Strike on this team, but I could see it being Single Strike. Landorus, Roaring Moon, and Amoonguss. Okay, so they have Tail Room. Is this the, is this that team that was going around late in Reg G? I think it might be, but I don't really remember it very well. Could I just lead Incineroar or Amoonguss? Kind of a nice emergency button when I'm not sure what to do. This team is a little bit ground weak, I'm noticing. Because Incineroar, Zamazenta, and Raging Bolt are all weak to ground, and there's no ground resist. Amoonguss is a grass type, but it's also a poison type, so it doesn't resist ground. So Landorus is actually kind of a problem, especially when they have the Tailwind support with Roaring Moon, and I don't have my own Tailwind. In that case, maybe I want to lead Incineroar Chien-Pao, pressure Landorus immediately if they lead with it. I'm going to try that. I'll just bring my Restricteds. All that, and they lead with their Calyrex. Okay. Alright. Maybe I should have seen that coming. I should be able to pressure it immediately. If it is that team that I think it might be, then it should be Terra Fairy Calyrex. I think I'm down to just knock off, and... oh, I can taunt it? I can taunt one of these. Roaring Moon will be faster because of the speed boost. I don't think they're going for Trick Room here. That's why I would want to taunt the Calyrex, but I don't think they're doing that, so... honestly, Chien-Pao just feels kind of badly positioned here. I'll switch to Zamazenta. They actually just protect the Roaring Moon and the Calyrex. Okay. Keeping their options open, I guess. Or covering for a fake out. I'm going to try to get rid of Roaring Moon here, because yeah, I didn't think the Calyrex was staying in. They do get Tailwind, but only once. Knockoff, or I didn't click knockoff this time, I clicked U-turn. It wouldn't have done much because of course Ogerpon's item can't be knocked off, but that's not what happened here anyway. The Ogerpon's kind of a problem too, actually, but I'll go Shadow Rider here. Chien-Pao is kind of just badly positioned into this team when they don't have the Landorus on the field. I'm realizing. But then the Landorus is such a threat, if ever they do bring it out. It could still be their last Pokemon. I don't know, I've worked myself up so much about the Landorus being a threat that it feels like it'd be silly if they didn't have it in the back, but we'll see. They still have their Tailwind. I'll protect through a turn of it here and see what they do. They're a normal Ice Rider. Okay, so it's not that team. Or maybe they've modified it. But again, I don't remember that team super well. Now I'm in a tricky spot because this is Terra Dragon Zamazenta. So if I Terra, I take the Ivy Cudgel much better, but the Glacial Lance much worse. I don't think it's worth it. Actually, I think I should switch Zamazenta. I think I should switch something out to Incineroar here. Maybe not Zamazenta, because then I give up the defense boost, and I probably let them at least knock my Calyrex down to its sash. I'll switch Incineroar into this slot, I think, and I'll just let Zamazenta take the Ivy Cudgel damage. Hopefully it doesn't crit, but if it does, what can you do? It isn't intimidated, but that doesn't matter if it crits. They protect their Calyrex. Okay. No crit. Kill the last turn of Tailwind here. They can set Trick Room if they want, so what I'm going to do is fake out the Ogre Pawn and body press the Calyrex. Actually just switch it out, and there's the Landorus. See, that's why I brought Chien-Pao to this game, but then Chien-Pao was not doing great, or not not very promising into the rest of their team, and so here we are. I don't even have a parting shot to click into the Landorus because, of course, it's AV Incineroar. I'll click Knockoff. I could Terra Fairy. I think it's fine. This is a very specially bulky Assault Vest Incineroar, and also it's not the worst thing if it goes down because then I get Chien-Pao in. Protect Zamazenta. They bring their Calyrex in. Honestly, I might prefer that Incineroar go down here, but I'm not sure it will. It doesn't. We knock off Landorus's Life Orb. Quick U-turn into... I'll just try to keep the pressure up on their Landorus. They throw off the Sandseer Storm, knocks out Incineroar, does a ton of damage to Zamazenta. I do get a body press into their Calyrex. It doesn't one-shot. Probably shouldn't have expected it to. I guess I can go Chien-Pao here and I can Sucker Punch something. But what's my priority to Sucker Punch? Probably the Landorus, right? Okay. I guess I protect this turn, actually. And then if they protect with something, then that can simplify my decision. But yeah, I want to kill... Okay. They protect their Calyrex. I want to kill a turn of... They protect both. Everybody click protect this turn. Kills a turn of Trick Room for me, so that's nice. I'll Sucker Punch the Landorus. And body press the Calyrex. Okay, I lose Zamazenta. Get my Calyrex. Also, I realized I said earlier that this Calyrex has a focus sash. That's not correct, of course. It has a life orb, and the sash is on Chien-Pao. Protect this turn. Maybe I'm mixing myself up too much by looking at both teams before I started. Follow me. Okay. Do I just lose to that? Maybe. Do I need to double protect? No, I don't think I do. I think I can Sucker Punch the Calyrex. Right, because they're nerfing their own damage if they click follow me. Actually, I'm going to read that they follow me again here and just double into Ogre Pawn. I think that's okay because Chien-Pao survives, but that's not what they did. Alright. So I could have knocked out the Calyrex there and then probably beaten Ogre Pawn in the endgame. So I kind of threw that away on that last turn. I was about to make the right play and then I changed my mind, but it happens sometimes. We got another one? Well, people say, well, I don't know. Right is kind of a loaded word. I was about to make the play that I think would have won. Alright, we got Zacian, Koraidon with Thundurus. I played a team like this yesterday. In a game that will not be in a video, I think. Just because I wasn't making one at that moment. And it was Leer Thunder... Oh, no, it wasn't like this. It had Groudon. It was Leer Thundurus with Precipice Blade's Groudon. But I think there's going to be a similar concept here. I think it's going to be Leer Thundurus because they have two very strong, fast, physical, attacking, restricted Pokemon. Granted, they don't do spread damage like Groudon. But I think that's likely. And then, of course, the Thundurus can also bring Thunder Wave, Scary Face, Electro Web, whatever speed control option it prefers. It can run Eerie Impulse to make my Shadow Rider very sad. Although, of course, Terra Dark, I can use the Dark-type Prankster immunity to shut down an Eerie Impulse, or a Thunder Wave, or a Scary Face. So my Calyrex is probably very good here. It has to be a little bit afraid of their Qian Pao. So I'm just going to lead both Restricteds, I think. I'll bring in Incineroar. Intimidate ought to be good into some parts of this team, at least. And I'll bring my Qian Pao. I'm going to play a Sucker Punch, maybe Speed Tie if I have to, right? Okay, they lead Pao and Thundurus. I think I want to just Terra Dark immediately and Nasty Plot. That'll shut down any Prankster disruption from the Thundurus. Even Leer won't work on Calyrex at that point. And let's look to break a possible Focus Sash on the Qian Pao. And this time, I am anticipating a possible Ghost Terra and clicking Heavy Slam, like I said maybe I should have done in that earlier game. They forfeit immediately. Okay. Well, I guess they didn't like their position. It did look like a pretty good start for me, but of course they did have two terrifying Paradox, well, maybe Paradox, if you count Koraidon as one, because I could have brought the Walking Wake, but I meant restricted Pokemon in the back with the Zacian and the Koraidon. Anyway, quick game. On to the next. Okay, what am I looking at right now? Urshifu, Kyogre, Zacian, Mo, Rotom. My personal favorite Rotom form, because look at that cheesy grin. Alola, Ninetales, and the Nightmare itself. Minecraft, Donkey Kong, Garganacl. Okay. Man. This is so weird. This is such a weird team. Is it Terra, Ice, Blizzard, Kyogre, Snow stuff? That was a thing, briefly, in Reg G. And otherwise, I don't know what Alola Ninetales is doing on a Kyogre team. But I think I like leading Zamazenta into this. Calyrex. I could throw Calyrex at them. Garganacl probably is Wide Guard, and it resists Ghost because of its ability anyway. I could just do Chien-Pao Zamazenta. I actually think that's very strong into a lot of their possible leads because of the Sword of Ruin boosting Zamazenta's damage. I'll bring my Calyrex in the back and kind of want to just bring Raging Bolt. Just bring all my offensive Pokemon and leave the supports behind. Yeah, especially into this, because it could be some kind of setup, grindy kind of set. I'll just do that. If I lose to Mo Rotom because my last Pokemon Raging Bolt doesn't have good damage into it, what can you do? Okay, so this is the rain mode. Kyogre, Rapid Striker, Shifu. Kind of wishing I had Raging Bolt on the board right now, but I think I'm just going to throw out the Terra Dragon immediately. Help Zamazenta take damage from these and hit back. I could hard switch Chien-Pao to Raging Bolt, but I think they might actually focus down this slot. So it's probably not worth it. I'll just try to get rid of the Kyogre if I can. It protects. Okay. They Brick Break Chien-Pao, knock it down to its Sash. They have Brick Break. Okay. Maybe they're really worried about screens. That Kyogre might switch. It doesn't. It takes a fair bit from that Ice Spinner. That's Sword of Ruin for you. Now they have Snow set up, and they will for, well, not necessarily the rest of the game, but the next few turns because the Kyogre is knocked out. They have their Zacian. I'm in a really weird position here, aren't I? Yes, don't like it much. Let's see if I can just get some damage on this before it knocks out, or before Chien-Pao gets knocked out somehow. They Terra Fairy. I've seen a couple of those lately, Terra Fairy Zacian. I'm more used to it running, well, there was the ground one in Reg G, but more recently like Water and Dragon to give itself a little bit more survivability. But that Turbo Play Rough did just take out my Dragon type Zamazenta. I mean, I have Calyrex in. They don't have any Wide Guard on the board, but I don't think Astral Barrage is just going to get KOs here. But If I Astral Barrage and Thunderclap Zacian, what do they have for that? Like maybe Ninetales just... Maybe they protect or switch? Nope. Okay, they don't do that. Maybe Ninetales throws off a Blizzard and freezes my Calyrex. Aurora Veil. Okay. Might be too little too late. Certainly hope so. Is this Scarf or Shifu? Do I know? I don't know because... Yeah, I don't know. Because only priority moves went before it, and it could just be faster than my Zamazenta. That's the rest of that thought. We're just going to Astral Barrage and Thunderclap or Shifu and hope for the best. Thunderclap one-shots it anyway through the Aurora Veil, and Astral Barrage will take out the Ninetales. I don't necessarily know what my opponent was cooking with this team, but it did give me a little bit of a scare when I got rid of the Kyogre, but then set myself up to potentially lose to the Zacian. But yeah, the duo of Calyrex and Raging Bolt was just too strong, so Raging Bolt really showing its worth there in that end game. And unfortunately, I didn't see the Rotom. It would have been nice to find out what that does on that team, but oh well. What's next? Garapagos, Rillaboom, Shadow Rider, Incineroar, Amoonguss. All right, so it's Shadow Rider balance and probably also Calm Mind Terapagos. Zamazenta is important in this game. It's by far my best Terapagos answer. Probably want Champao as well. Champao being good into both of their restricteds is nice. Of course, they'll use Incineroar or Shifu to try to make it kind of sad, or they can do that. I don't think there's a ton of downside. I kind of want to just lead Champao Zamazenta, but I feel like their Incineroar could be a problem. I could lead Champao Zamazenta, have my Incineroar available to switch in, and then what? Do I just bring the Shadow Rider? Not that strong into some of this team, but it is just my best Pokemon. I don't know that I love Raging Bolt into some of this team either. I don't know that Amoonguss does much here. Alright, Shadow Rider it is. Okay, they lead Urshifu Terapagos. It is Rapid Strike form, which is what I expected. I could taunt the Terapagos, but it might be better to preserve Champao, but preserve it how? Maybe I should have brought Amoonguss instead of Calyrex, honestly, so that I'd have a switch in against their Urshifu. I'm going to taunt the Terapagos, though, and try to get damage on Urshifu. They go for the Surging Strikes into Zamazenta. That does a lot. Too much, perhaps. Oh, but we one-shot the Urshifu with a crit, so okay, guess we take those. Zamazenta has taken a lot of damage, though, and I might be wrong about the Terapagos because I taunted it. Great. It just attacked with Earth Power. This Shadow Rider is not about to let Zamazenta just attack here, so what I'm going to do is Sucker Punch it and switch to Incineroar. Right, I could click Wide Guard. Well, they probably just click Psychic into Zamazenta anyway, anticipating the Wide Guard. So that still wouldn't accomplish anything, but also I need Zamazenta doing damage. And even if they don't do that, then Zamazenta has to take an Earth Power from Terapagos. So Wide Guard is just a dead play here. It just leads nowhere. And if I try to attack with Zamazenta, it just gets knocked out. Okay, we'll knock Calyrex down to its Sash here. Switch Incineroar into a Psychic. Nice. Champao survives a Terra Starstorm. Of course, it would anyway with the Focus Sash, but I'll do this again just to make sure that, you know, just keep the might be better to Ice Spinner that slot. I'm going to keep the Calyrex honest, though. And I'll go for a knockoff into Terapagos. They switch to Incineroar. Okay, preserve the Calyrex, okay. Knock off Incineroar's Goggles. Do better on the Amoonguss. Can you do? I'll taunt. I'll protect Champao here. Can I Terra Ghost? Am I using my Terra for anything else in this game? Maybe. I might need the Dark Terra. I may yet need the Dark Terra here. So, okay, I'll protect. I'll U-turn. If I knock out their Calyrex... So I either break Terra Shell here, get Zamazenta in, or I knock out their Calyrex. Or maybe Incineroar gets flinched. Knock out the Calyrex, get Zamazenta in against Terrapagos, or Incineroar gets flinched. One of those possibilities. Okay, they switch to Terrapagos. They do go for the fake out into Champao, so I will break the Terra Shell. And we'll find out... We'll finally get some info on Terrapagos' item. Leftovers. Okay. Maybe it was a calm mindset all along. Alright. What I'm going to do is... Leftovers probably has Protect. What I want to do is Ice Spinner and Body Press, so that no matter what, one of the restricted Pokemon is taking big damage. But that, of course, is only unless it protects. I think it's okay, though, because I get the Shadow Rider back in next turn. I actually switch their Shadow Rider in here. Are they protecting? No, they Terrasilize Terrapagos. But it gets knocked out before it can do anything. And now they'll get Incineroar back in. But I can protect around its Fake Out, and then... I probably just click Sucker Punch into the Calyrex. Maybe that's too obvious and they play around it, but I don't want to let this thing get an attack off, you know? Protect this turn. Not sure what they're thinking about. I feel like my play's pretty obvious. Maybe they're thinking a couple turns ahead. Astral Barrage, and yeah, now... See, I am going to Sucker Punch the Calyrex. Obviously, they can protect, or even Nasty Plot if they have it, and use Incineroar to knock out Champao. I'm not risking it. Actually, I could have gone Terra Ghost, Sucker Punch that turn, but I didn't know what the Calyrex would do. Anyway, I was probably going to click Body Press into Incineroar, but they actually forfeited here. Do I think this game was over? They hadn't taken a KO yet. And I still have my Shadow Rider in the back. And I preserved the Terra Dark for it. I don't know if I ever said out loud, but that was why I was avoiding the Terra on Champao. The one thing that I thought I might still need it for was Terra Dark on Shadow Rider in an endgame against... Honestly, I was only thinking about their Shadow Rider, but maybe the Incineroar too. I think it was probably still possible for me to lose this game. But... not when they forfeited. At that point, it's won. Alright, this is another Roaring Moon team. But this is... oh, this is a scary Rain team. They've got Roaring Moon setting Tailwind. They've got the Swordfish stuff. And they've got Champao with Zacian, but also Champao with Basculegion, probably boosted by Swift Swim. That Basculegion could go crazy. Good thing I have a Raging Bolt, actually. It could be very valuable here. Or Moongus, or Incineroar. Of course, I can't bring all three unless I'm leaving behind a restricted. Also, Champao is good into the Basculegion. We might find that Basculegion is very strong, but it has matchup issues here. Champao Zamazenta is probably a reasonable lead. It has Zacian issues, but I can switch Incineroar into that, I think. So let's do that. Incineroar would be an okay lead too, but not so much into Kyogre. And... I am thinking about Raging Bolt, but I think I should bring my Shadow Rider. I'm trying to get more into the mindset that so I understand it can be okay to only bring one of your restricted Pokemon. That can be the appropriate choice in certain matchups. But I, knowing that, have, I think in some past videos, gone too far that way and, you know, tried to, you know, overthought it and left restricted Pokemon behind very often. And so I'm trying to get more into the mindset of still defaulting to bringing both of them, even though I know that sometimes that's not what I should do. Anyway, I'm just going to try to get rid of this Champao immediately if I can. I can't, it protects. They get their Tailwind. Let's get rid of a turn of that and also scout what they're going to do, because I really don't know in this position. You know what? I shouldn't do that. I should Body Press something, just to make sure that, like, Kyogre can't switch in for free. It doesn't really do anything about Basculegion potentially trying to switch in, but anyway. There's no switch. They double into Champao, so they hit protects. Or they hit a protect with both their attacks. I get rid of the Roaring Moon. So already they're down to 2 more turns of Tailwind, and they cannot set it back up. Here, I feel pretty good to just Sucker Punch Kyogre and... honestly, Wide Guard. They bring in their Zacian. Okay. Sucker Punch did half. And the Water Spout does no damage back. Chien-Pao's Sash is still intact, but I might want to protect it this turn. I can see the Kyogre switching out or something. I'll try to get... What do I need to do to beat the Zacian? I think it's valuable to get damage into it here. If I can. Kyogre just protects. But that's the last turn of their Tailwind. Swords Dance Zacian. Uh-oh. Okay, well then I'm glad that I have... Okay, I got a lot of damage into it. Now it'll be outsped by my Shadow Rider. They can't set Tailwind back up because I KO'd the Roaring Moon, so I think this is okay. I think. Just double the Kyogre slot. Like I said, I'm counting on my Shadow Rider to beat the Zacian in the end. Okay, Sucker Punch does nothing but the Body Press if it goes off. And it does. Quite a lot. I'm running Adamant Chien-Pao. So this could be a speed tie, but it doesn't have to be a speed tie. Let's try. They went first and they tried to Sucker Punch my Zamazenta, so... I mean, the important thing there is just... my Sucker Punch failed. It could still be a speed tie. I don't think it is. Okay, they take 2 KOs here, but what I've done is gotten... Yeah, maybe I should have brought Incineroar in at some point, although Intimidate is still +2. I wasn't really thinking about Incineroar at all. I kind of tunnel visioned into my other 3 Pokemon, and maybe Incineroar would have been useful here. I can fake out into the Chien-Pao slot now. They either use their Terra to preserve it, or they protect, either in which case it doesn't do much this turn. Given that they could use their Terra, I think I am still going to Terrasilize my Shadow Rider here. I mean, there's not really any reason not to. I'm not saving the Terra for anything else at this point. And I'll just go for an Astral Barrage. I'll outspeed Zacian. Okay, they just protected this turn. So obviously I click Astral Barrage again with the Shadow Rider. I'm just thinking about Incineroar's move. It doesn't really matter. I'll just click Knock Off into something. Chances are it'll do nothing, but if the Kyogre switches in, his partner knocked out. But yeah, Shadow Rider just wins from here. That's what I was... I mean, I kind of stumbled into that line. But... yeah, that's what I was playing toward once the Zacian set up that Swords Dance. They let me kill their Tailwind turns pretty nicely, and of course the Roaring Moon dropped to that Body Press that I just kind of threw out there because they didn't have an immediate threat into Zamazenta, so then they weren't able to set the Tailwind back up. And from there, my Shadow Rider outsped everything. I just needed damage on Zacian, and I got it. Alright, that was a fun game. The Basculegion, I guess I can understand why they didn't bring it, because I do have a lot of checks, but that could have been very scary in this endgame. A Reshiram. Okay. Alright. Groudon Reshiram. Okay, Reshiram Sun. Nice. Grimmsnarl support, Whimsicott support, Male and Indeedee. It's interesting here. Raging Bolt. How do I beat Reshiram with this team? I'm actually not sure. They have Tailwind too. And screens. Okay, Incineroar is good here. For sure. Because it has the Assault Vest. It can take hits. It resists the main stab from Reshiram. Immune to Indeedee's go-to stab. Can intimidate Groudon. Unless it's Clear Amulet Groudon. Clear Emulate Groudon. Which on this team, good chance it is. But I like Incineroar a lot here. Water Amoonguss. Case for it. Could maybe in some positions Terra Amoonguss and Spore something, but I don't see the vision as clearly with that. I could lead Zamazenta, honestly. Try to get rid of that Whimsicott quickly if they lead with that. Okay, I'll do that. Bring my Calyrex again. I might be playing to a Calyrex outspeeds everything end game again. I'll bring Champao. I can clear Psychic Terrain. It gives me more of a threat into Indeedee if I do get into some kind of Calyrex endgame. They lead Reshiram Whimsicott, so I'm anticipating Tailwind and big fire type damage. I think I do just lock in the Terra Dragon on Zamazenta here, because I think it's worth it to try to get rid of this Whimsicott. I can actually just Flare Blitz Whimsicott, right? Maybe? I'll Terra Dragon anyway and Body Press Reshiram. Reshiram protects. What does Whimsicott do? Tailwind, okay. Bit unfortunate that I didn't get any damage into Reshiram after showing my Terra Dragon, because Reshiram probably has coverage for that. What can you do? Maybe lose, because how do I ever switch anything in on these? I'll knock off into Reshiram. I'm still more afraid of that than I am Groudon. And protect Zamazenta this turn. High Horsepower Incineroar, knock it out. Okay. That Groudon does not want to miss a Precipice Blades. I guess High Horsepower can still miss. Yeah, I think I'm just too far behind here. They still have 2 turns of Tailwind, and even when I get my Shadow Rider in, I don't have damage on these guys. So they might have just boomed me with this Reshiram, but let's see. I want to just... No, it's okay. I can Sucker Punch Reshiram here. And Body Press Groudon. And what I'm looking to do ideally is get damage on both of these so that maybe I can knock them out with Calyrex and get to +2 to deal with whatever their last Pokemon is. But they knocked Zamazenta out with the Draco Meteor crit. I don't know if the crit mattered. I might still be able to do the thing that I said, actually. This is the last turn of Tailwind. Let's protect through it. They have Grimmsnarl in the back. Okay. I've already used my Terra. I can't Terra Dark the Calyrex, and maybe that wouldn't be good anyway with the Spirit Break threat. I think I need damage on Groudon. Yeah, I'll probably just lose to Grimmsnarl. I'll try to... Nope, I won't try to taunt it because of what I just said. I need damage on... Oh, it can Fake Out. If it has Fake Out, I think I just don't get my damage on Groudon anyway. But let's see. They protect Groudon. Does that Reflect? I had a chance to taunt Grimmsnarl there, but I didn't realize. Just do this again, because what else can I do at this point? Okay, they paralyzed the Calyrex. That's probably GG. We'll get another Astral Barrage off here. I said that so confidently when there was still a chance of a full para, but it did happen. Actually, if I land another attack, I win, but I don't think I don't think I do. No. Fusion Flare into... Oh, full para. Oh, if wait. That full para just lost the game. I had it otherwise. Calyrex was still faster than Grimmsnarl, even paralyzed. That's wild already. I mean, it makes sense, but you just kind of expect when you're paralyzed to be slower than everything. But that full para just lost the game. I had it. If not for the full para, but I mean, you click Thunderwave, that's one of the assets they're playing toward, right? But that game was so much more winnable than I realized most of the way. Fell just short in the end. Can't be mad, though, losing to a Reshiram. That's a really cool team. And I think that's only 2 losses, so get another one. The full para. Okay. Shadow Rider, Rillaboom, Kyogre, Farigiraf, Annihilate, Whimsicott. I will say I kind of tanked my ladder rating the other day, spamming a bunch of bad teams. And I'm starting to get into a little bit more serious territory here. You see a Reshiram team and you don't really think serious territory, but that person was cooking. Anyway, I almost had it, though. Okay, every time I see an Annihilate these days, I get worried about Scarf Final Gambit, but I mean, there's one pretty easy way to nerf that, and it's by hitting it with priority. I think most leads they can throw at me, Qianpao, Zamazenta can handle. Their Shadow Rider is a little bit worrisome. Not even really, because I can Sucker Punch it, and if it's Terra Dark or normal, I can Body Press it after taking a hit. I think it's workable. I kind of want to bring Incineroar. It is risky into the Annihilate, but, well, it would be riskier if I were leading with it. It's risky into the Kyogre. I might be better off bringing Shadow Rider and Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt can Thunderclap. Not with Farigiraf on the board, obviously, but otherwise I can Thunderclap their Shadow Rider, their Kyogre. I'll bring Incineroar, though. I do have priority on it, too, in the Fake Out, even if it's situational. They actually just leave both of their Restricteds, which is a bit scary. Bit scary, but I think I can just Sucker Punch Calyrex and Body Press Kyogre, and there's probably something that counters that, but it seems to me to do a lot for me right away here. The Kyogre just drops to Body Press. Okay, that's the sort of ruin for you, I think. Shadow Rider got knocked down to its Sash, but then got back up to half. And of course I cannot Sucker Punch it right now. I'm just going to protect Qianpao and... Is Calyrex that light? Really? 120 power? I actually think I'd rather get... No, because I want the Sword of Ruin for this Heavy Slam. Ally Switch. Okay. Alright. They got me. They didn't do a ton of damage this turn, though. But now... If I want to preserve Qianpao, I have to give up the Sword of Ruin. I'm not doing it. I'm clicking Taunt into Farigiraf. If Qianpao survives to actually land that. Yeah, okay. Well, that might have just been a throw. Yeah, the Calyrex survives thanks to that recovery. Might have just kind of boomed to this one. But I get my Calyrex in. It's a speed tie at worst. I have my Dark Terra. If they're also running Terra Dark, basically if they're running anything other than normal, they're at such low HP. They might have to be afraid of this Astral Barrage anyway. Body Press Farigiraf, because I'm anticipating that either my Calyrex will get a KO here into theirs, or I'll just lose. Okay, maybe I should have protected Zamazenta. Didn't really think about that, but I do get rid of their Calyrex. Both of their Restricteds are gone, but I don't know what their last Pokemon is. Oh dear. Uh-oh. Well. Maybe that's a Focus Sash. Or, I mean a Choice Scarf. Maybe it is a Choice Scarf. So protect and knock off. Leftovers. Okay. So what I was trying to do there, of course, but they got the speed control that they wanted in the end with the... So I was trying to knock off a Choice Scarf from the Annihilate so that it wouldn't be able to outspeed and attack my Shadow Rider on the next turn. But it was not Scarf Annihilate, it was Leftovers Ape. And I left them free there to set up Trick Room. And they're just spamming that Ally Switch now. Honestly, I'm not even reacting to it. I've just continued to play like they don't have it, which is probably not what I'm supposed to do. But it's like it's just not computing in my brain. Did they use it 2 turns in a row? No. Trick Room into Ally Switch. Okay, I believe Ally Switch now has a chance to fail if you use it consecutively. I probably should have adjusted to it, like after the second time they used it, but I guess I'm just not used to seeing Ally Switch. I just kept playing like they didn't have it. Taking their time with this turn. I've clicked Flare Blitz into Annihilate because I think they only have a Psychic type attack on Farigiraf. So Incineroar just wins if I can get rid of Annihilate. What are the chances that Incineroar actually gets to land an attack into Annihilate? Ooh, they went for another Ally Switch and failed. Oh, Incineroar was slower than... Oh, I missed that too. That's why. I I actually had it sewn up and I didn't know. Yeah, Incineroar 1v1s Farigiraf because they only have a Psychic type attack on it, so I just needed to knock out the Annihilate. What happened in that game? I just played it and I don't know. Okay, yeah, I accumulated the knockoff damage into Annihilate, and then I was able to win with Flare Blitz, so I wasn't thinking the position correctly, but I actually did make winning plays in the end. And they risked an attempt at a second ally switch in a row, which I think might have saved the game for them, but it failed. Yeah, that really messed with my head. Okay. Chen Pao, Zacian, almost called it the wrong thing. Urshifu, Rillaboom, Kyogre, Hisuian Arcanine. Interesting. Hisuian Arcanine. Getting a little tired. I don't think I'm going to be getting very many games with the runner-up team. I'm having a lot of fun with the champion team, though. How do I beat this stuff? Well, these Kyogre teams, I mean, Zamazenta has been very strong into them so far. Because it's faster and it does big damage with body press, Kyogre being more especially bulky. It works better if I also lead with Chien-Pao, but I don't know if I can in this game. But I want to, so I will. Bring Calyrex in the back, and I think I need Raging Bolt in this one. Honestly, Incineroar could be really good in this one too. Incineroar, Intimidate is valuable to a lot of their team, although I could see it being Clear Amulet Arcanine. But I think the priority Thunderclap could actually be important in some positions here. They lead Arcanine, Kyogre. That's kind of not what I was hoping to see, because they will get an Intimidate, I assume. No, it doesn't have Intimidate. So it has Rockhead? It's not going to have Justified on this team. It doesn't get Justified. That's the other Arcanine form. It's going to have Rockhead. So it's just going to throw off the Head Smash, I guess. Zamazenta doesn't care about that. Chien-Pao kind of does. Can I Sucker Punch Kyogre and Body Press Arcanine? Kyogre protects, which is kind of what I was covering for with the Zamazenta's attack targeting Arcanine. It also does just knock out the Rock type there. And who's coming in? Nobody, they forfeit. Nice. Okay, on to the next one. Yeah, some of those lead Kyogre have been protecting, I noticed, so I thought I should cover for that instead of just doubling into it. This is hard Trick Room. I might be playing Anna Cramling right now. Do you think Yo-Yo6996 is Anna Cramling's Showdown account? Because this is... I don't think this is exactly the team that Wolf gave her, right? Did that team have an Ursaluna or something? I just watched that video a couple days ago and I don't remember. But it is the same style of team. No, she played Reg G. There was no Lunala. She played Reg G. But that means if she's updated to Reg 9, then I could be playing Anna Cramling right now. I'm not playing Anna Cramling. But imagine if I were. How do I beat Hard Trick Room? So my only Dark Attack on Chien-Pao is Sucker Punch. So the Indeedee is a problem. I can't just Throat Chop it or something immediately. You know, lead Incineroar and click Knock Off, but a lot of Indeedee that I've seen lately are running Psychic Seed. I think Chien-Pao Zamazenta is correct, right? Because I just get that boosted body press damage into an Indeedee. And I can Sucker... No, I can't because of the terrain. Oh, I can Ice Spinner. Yeah, Ice Spinner is the key to this, for sure. Then I can Sucker Punch their Calyrex or whatever. Bring my Calyrex for an endgame and I'll bring Incineroar. Maybe I need a Mungus, actually. I haven't been bringing a Mungus to like any of my games, and obviously Spore Mungus is valuable into Trick Room. This is probably part of what it's for on this team, but too late. I've locked in something else. Yeah, so we'll just Ice Spinner. I'll target the Lunala, but they'll probably redirect it. Body Press Indeedee. Actually, I should just take the KO on Indeedee anyway, shouldn't I? Unless I have it already, I don't know. I'll double Indeedee. Try to deny because if I knock out Indeedee and I go for the Ice Spinner, I've denied them terrain for all of the rest of the game. Now the Ice Spinner almost KOs outright. Not quite. They didn't click Follow Me. So maybe Indeedee was going for Trick Room. It's a weird play, but... Of course, they still have room to set up the Trick Room here. I don't think I can just take out the Lunala. I can taunt something. I have taunt on Chan Pao. It's taunt Chan Pao. What is clicking Trick Room in this position? I think the Lunala. Let's do that, and let's Heavy Slam Hatterene. Terra Ground? Is that what they're running now? That Body Press would have KO'd. Okay, but it doesn't take any KOs here. And I did deny the Trick Room. Let's go. I can Ice Spin Hatterene. Heavy Slam Lunala, at least break the Shadow Shield. And then try to win with my Calyrex, I guess. Moongeist Beam. So I keep Chan Pao. It survives again, and they're down to their last two Pokemon, so they can't switch to Lunala out and get rid of the taunt. I'm going Shadow Rider Calyrex. There's their Ice Rider. I am clicking Sucker Punch into that, and I'm clicking Astral Barrage. They can't click Wide Guard even if they have it. It's a weakness policy, Ice Rider. But it doesn't matter. GG. Ooh. Shadow Rider Calyrex is... You know, even I started to kind of forget with Miraidon going crazy, hitting 40+% usage at tournaments. Sometimes I felt like it was on 80% of the teams I was seeing on the ladder. You kind of start to forget about Shadow Rider Calyrex, and so no wonder it just won a major tournament. That Pokemon is a menace. We've got another Roaring Moon here. That's cool. Ice Rider, Miraidon, Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, Volcarona, Incineroar. So my Incineroar is pretty strong here. Have I faced a Miraidon this video? Where have they been? I feel like I must have, but... What happened? Did Miraidon do badly in Bologna? I haven't dug into it. Okay, well, Ice Spinner Chan Pao could be valuable here again. Amogus? Amogus kind of just loses to a lot of these. Alright, we're going to do Chan Pao, Zamazenta, Calyrex, Incineroar, and see what we can figure out. Because I actually think this might be the first Ice Rider and Miraidon team of the video, which is wild. Maybe it's not. I've been recording for almost an hour. That's also wild. I could be forgetting some things at this point. I really don't like this lead position. I'm afraid of the Volcarona. In fact... I'm going to try to taunt it. A little bit risky, but... Please fake out Zamazenta and not Chan Pao. They did. Okay. We denied a Quiver Dance. Nice. Let's go. Okay. I'll switch to Incineroar here. And Body Press their Incineroar. Does that make sense? I think so. I just don't think Chan Pao does very much in this position after the taunt, and I might want to preserve the Ice Spinner option for later. Or even the Sucker Punch. Bug. Okay, so it takes that Body Press nicely. Volcarona goes for Fiery Dance, fortunately into Incineroar. Knock off Incineroar, there goes the Assault Vest. Volcarona did get a special attack boost there, and obviously they know that I don't have Parting Shot. Or however much that matters. Let's knock, and... I kind of want to switch my Shadow Rider in, but it's dangerous. But I'm going to do it. I feel like I get a lot of initiative if it works. Switching Miraidon. Fiery Dance into Shadow Rider does half. Not great for me. Knock off Leftovers. Taunt ends. Yeah, maybe I've overcooked this one a little bit. We'll see. How do I beat Volcarona? I kind of want to just click Astral Barrage and hope that knocks it out. Maybe I'm throwing my Shadow Rider away for nothing, but... I'm down to try. We experiment on this channel. Oh, it does not quite KO. Incineroar's knocked out by a Volt Switch. That means Incineroar would have... I targeted Volcarona with Incineroar. I would have knocked it out there if the Miraidon had targeted my Calyrex, but it didn't. Now I got +3 Volcarona and Iron Hands. Iron Hands has the Fake Out available. Really hesitant to attack Volcarona with these guys because it could have Flame Body. You know what? I think I Terra... No, I think I need to preserve the Terra for Zamazenta, because maybe I can play around the Miraidon's Choice Lock when it comes when it has to commit to a move. I kind of want to Terra Ghost Chanpao, Ice Spinner the Volcarona, try to knock it out and remove the terrain. No, protect. Fire Dance, and there was no Fake Out, it was Drain Punch. Alright. I'm going to Body Press the hands and Ice Spinner the Volk. Volk is very low. I think this will knock it out. Hopefully Chanpao doesn't get burned. They can get the terrain right back by bringing Miraidon back in, but at least the hands... Assuming they don't switch. And, well, even if they do. Assuming this attack goes off, at least the hands' damage will be nerfed this turn. Volk goes down. Terrain goes down. No burn. Rain Punch. Just wipe out the damage I did? Almost. And they'll get their terrain back? No, it's Incineroar first. Of course, it has the Intimidate. And it's a bug type, so I can't just body press it. I can still body press the hands, but that wasn't doing amazing damage. Okay, there's Miraidon. I'll try to Sucker Punch it. Honestly, why not? I could Terra Fairy. They switched it out. That's smart. And yeah, that Incineroar can just... That Terra Bug Incineroar is just a menace for me here. It's a very easy Fake Out for them, so yeah, protect around it. What have I seen of its moves? Fake Out and Knock Off? It could have Flare Blitz, it could have Will-O-Wisp, I don't know. But I think the Iron Hands is the more obvious threat, so that's what I'll target. For not great damage. Yeah, this is just GG, and they have Will-O-Wisp. Okay. Well. That Volcarona was really hard to deal with, and then I tunnel visioned in on it and couldn't handle, you know, 3 of the best Pokemon in the game partnered with it. Is what it is. Win some, lose some. This has been a pretty solid run. Definitely a fun team that won Bologna. Maybe not my personal take on a Zamazenta Shadow Rider team right now, although I haven't explored them much in a while, so, you know, for multiple reasons, you can trust that the player who won a major tournament this past weekend is more knowledgeable about the archetype they were using than I am. But I did promise one more thing.